Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Jas and welcome to Vardeez. And today we are talking about the 2026 curriculum update for the FRM Part 1 and Part 2 both. Yes, the 2026 curriculum updates has been released by GARP and I'm going to be sharing all the details for what has changed for Part 1 and then I'm going to talk about for Part 2. Okay, but before we talk about that, if you're preparing for FRM Part 1 or Part 2, you can visit our website www.vardeez.com to check out the FRM 1 and Part 2 packages for your preparation. So let's look into what are the changes from 2025 to the next year, which is going to be 2026. Okay, let's start with the Part 1. Now, just to give you a little summary here for Part 1, there has been no major changes in the FRM Part 1 2026 curriculum. There has just been a little update in the quantitative analysis section, especially the learning objectives has been updated. So I'm just going to show you that thing as well. But to summarize, for 2026 FRM Part 1, again, we have the entire 62 chapters, no addition, no deletion, nothing. Okay, so for foundations, again, the weightage is the same 20%, no change in the curriculum at all. If I move on to quantitative analysis, I would say that there has just been one changes in the stationary time series. 3 to 4 learning objectives has been updated, and I'm just going to show you what has been the update. So this is where the learning objectives, as you can see here, for the stationary time series in 2025, specifically these learning objectives, we had the autoregressive process, moving average process, and a lag operators. But now they have even added a calculation for the AR process, calculation for the MA process, calculate the lag polynomial of a time series, and there has just been added like a calculate for this, the box Peirce skew statistic. So basically some calculation keywords has been added to this particular chapter. Nothing beyond that we have it. So if you are preparing for 2026, make sure that you incorporate these changes into your prep for quantitative analysis. Okay, so that has only been the change for quantitative analysis. FMP remains the same weightage, no changes in the chapter, no learning objectives, nothing. Okay, it is absolutely the same goes for the VRM. Again, 30% weightage, no change at all in the curriculum. So that's it for FRM Part 1 2026. One update in the stationary time series in quantitative analysis, and apart from that, no changes at all. Okay, let's move to the FRM Part 2 2026 curriculum from 2025. Yes, there has been certain changes for the FRM Part 2 2026 curriculum. Now, just to summarize here, what are the changes? Risk investment has been updated. Yes, there are some new chapters that has been added here and some chapters has been deleted. I'm going to talk about that in more detail. Current issues is also updated for 2026, and as we know that current issues ideally gets updated almost every year. And liquidity risk, one chapter has been removed, and I was expecting this because liquidity risk investment for the last 5 years, almost like from 2020 onwards, there has been no updates to either the risk investment or the liquidity risk. So I was expecting this for 2026, and exactly this thing happened here. Okay, starting up with the number of chapters, let's look at it. 104 chapters for 2025, which has now been increased to 107 chapters for 2026. Yes, so almost 3 more chapters has been added for the 2026 curriculum. Starting up with market risk, no changes, 20% weightage. All the 18 chapters remain the same for 2026. So if you've started your preparation for the next year with the market risk, you're almost good to go. Okay, moving on to the credit risk now. Again, no changes in the credit risk. All the 23 chapters that we have from 2025, that is relevant for 2026. No changes at all. Okay, moving on to the operational risk. Again, same weightage, no changes. All the 24 chapters are relevant for 2026. 2026. Okay, moving on, let's start with the liquidity, where one chapter, this one has been completely removed. Chapter number 12, managing and pricing deposit services, that has been removed. At the same time, if you look at illiquid assets, it has been removed from the liquidity risk book, but it has been moved to risk investment. So the same chapter, same learning objectives, everything has been shifted from liquidity risk to the risk investment. That is one update from the liquidity risk. Okay, so now for 2026, if you look at the chapters, there are 17 chapters that we have. Of course, the weightage is again the same, 15. Okay, moving on to the major change that has happened in the risk investment. Let's spend little time here to understand what has changed. Okay, so chapter number 7, risk monitoring, has been removed. Hedge fund has been updated, but the old learning objectives, everything has been removed. Predicting fraud by investment managers, everything has been removed here. The point to be observed here is that for the same weightage, 15%, earlier we had 11 chapters in the risk investment book. Now it has been added up, or increased to 17 chapters. Yes, so the majority of the new chapters has been added in the risk investment section here. So what do you see here? For example, the hedge fund, that has been added. All the new learning objectives has been added. Risk regulation, organizational structure, this has been added for 2026. There's also one update here, which is chapter number 2, the rise and risk of private credit. Now this chapter was there in current issues in 2025. So from this current issues, they have taken the same learning objectives, the exact material, they have moved it into the risk management and investment management book. Okay, so if you look at it, this is new, this has been just taken from current issues, this is absolutely new, this is also, so all the things that you see in green, they are absolutely new for 2026. Again, illiquid assets, I have made a note that it has been simply moved from liquidity risk to here. Nothing major that we have it here. Okay, so all the things that you see here, this has been a massive update to the risk investment book. Okay, moving on to the final thing, and that is the current issues. Now for current issues, if you look at it, you realize that the starting 5 chapters has been deleted, and as I said, the chapter number 2, the rise and risk of private credit, has been moved to risk investment book. And what do you see here in the green? These 4 chapters has been added completely new. The 7th chapter is also added completely new. And what stays from 2025 is this chapter number 5, monetary and fiscal policy, regulating the crypto ecosystem, and digital resilience and financial stability. So these 3 chapters from 2025 stays relevant for 2026. Okay, so what you can do is you can look at the PDF for yourself. Okay, majorly risk investment, current issues, and little update for the liquidity risk. So these are the major changes for the FRM part 2 2026. Okay, if you have any comments, please post it in the comments below. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next video.